The first Nitro of 2000 in its first 2-hour show since January '98 went on the air at 8 p.m. in the new Monday Night Tours format with only 1 hour of head-to-head competition between 9 to 10, coming after Vince Russo, who pushed for the show to cut back to 2 hours, was fighting for it to go from 9 to 11 with both hours opposed Raw, saying that giving Raw the second usually already highest-rated hour unopposed would lead to the WWF drawing huge numbers on a weekly basis that will widen the gap between the programs, with Nitro building the first hour on the reveal of the new commissioner on the way to the building, bringing up multiple names as possibilities, with the strongest one being Ric Flair, coming after Flair publicly acknowledged in interviews over the past month that the company want to bring him back as an authority figure to start 2000. Nitro jumped to a first-hour high between 8:30 to 8:45, which will also be the peak of the night. 4.3 rating, with the NWO coming out for a promo, first with Bret Hart hyping his pay-per-view main event against C that sold out, followed by Jeff Jarrett hyping his 3-match stipulation on the show against Chris Benoit. Nash was next, sending a message to WCW management and Bill Bush on their new commissioner, saying that it's a new millennium but the NWO will run the show as they always did, with Scott Steiner closing the segment, cutting a heel promo on the crowd, saying that he put on an Academy Award-winning performance last week when faking retirement, telling Seed that they're gonna take him out like they did Goldberg, with Goldberg, after undergoing surgery on his arm last week, is expected to be out for over 2 months, with a return date expected in the unopposed Nitro on February 14th, which is also set to be Hogan's return, with the company looking to capitalize on what is expected to be their biggest audience in months, with Raw starting 2 hours later. After the last hour of hype, with the strong hint of it being Ric Flair, Terry Funk walked out in a surprise as the new WCW commissioner seconds after 9 p.m., with the announcers saying that Funk was last seen teaming with Mick Foley in the WWF, including a rumored return for Funk to the company to lead to Foley bringing Cactus Jack back in the next few weeks on the way to the Rumble pay-per-view, with Funk saying that he accepted the job as commissioner because he wants to bring the real wrestling business back, not the one created by Russo and Ferrara, bringing out Arn Anderson to help him with the crowd, who was anticipating Flair's return, chanting for him throughout, as Anderson cut a promo on the powers that be in the NWO to bring them out, leading to Funk booking them in matches and Nash responding, telling them that their days are over and they're making the rules, with the segment doing the peak opposed segment of the night for Nitro with a 3.3 rating. With the building opening just 4 days ago, the new American Airlines arena erupted as Rock came out to open the first Raw of the new millennium to a massive ovation from the hometown crowd in Miami. Rock, whose new autobiography The Rock Says, which will be released Wednesday, with a huge opening expected, with the book already climbing in the Amazon bestsellers list in pre-order, put over the Miami crowd, saying that he is home, announcing that he has one resolution for the first year of Rock's millennium, which is to be the best WWF champion in history, turning to Mick Foley putting over his career before calling out Triple H to the ring, with Hunter saying that his New Year's resolution is similar to Rock except his will take place tonight, booking himself against Big Show for the title, while setting up the main event with Rock against all 3 other members of DX in a handicap match, with Rock getting fired if he loses, opening Raw with a 5.7 rating. Rock did a rare lengthy out-of-character interview with a Torch published in the last week, talking about the road from growing up in the business and first meeting Vince when he was 10 years old all the way to be the top star in the industry, putting over Bret Hart, Undertaker and Austin as the 3 guys who helped him the most in his rise. saying that his breakout moment as a heel was him coming out to confront Austin a day after Survivor Series 97, the people turning him babyface at SummerSlam 98 in the Garden and the eventual corporate champion heel turn, remembering the day it was decided in a meeting with McMahon and Russo in Vince's office and the next night on Raw in Lexington when they set a ratings record in front of one of the hottest crowds in history, saying that his favorite match was the WrestleMania 15 main event against Austin where they set a pay-per-view record with no outside names, followed by the rematch at Backlash a month later. When asked about Russo's jump to WCW, Rock said that they had a good relationship and Russo had a major influence on the WWF product with him at the height of it, writing the entire show with only a few tweaks from McMahon, as well as understanding the Rock character and giving him the room to be creative. But as numbers showed before and after, a big reason for the success of the company is that they have the talent to execute the plan at the highest level. Rock also talked about meeting Bill Goldberg for the first time when both companies ran shows in Toronto in November, saying that they exchanged messages in the past year and met in person when Rock went to meet Bret Hart at a hockey game and Goldberg was there with him, saying that he could see an interesting matchup between them in the future. Nitro had two tournament tag matches next in the same quarter, first with Steiner and Nash against the Harris brothers, with Nash working the match and Scott, who is still not cleared to wrestle, on commentary throughout the night, followed by Flair and Crowbar against Bagwell and Vampiro, with the continuation of the David Flair chase from both groups to eventually lead to Jarrett kidnapping Daphne, while at the same time Raw had its biggest jump of the first hour, picking up over 800,000 viewers into the 6 rating range, with Kurt Angle vs Kane going 3 minutes, continuing the angle of Hunter trying to end Angle's streak, warning Blackman not to interfere in the match, to end with him disqualifying Angle intentionally to keep him undefeated, followed by Stephanie coming out in a segment with Jericho and Chyna to put both as IC champions. What from now on will be Nitro's final quarter between 9:45 to 10 p.m. started with Seed vs Jeff Jarrett going 3 minutes, with Bret getting Seed back for jumping him earlier, laying him out with a bat for the finish, with the main event entrances and start of Nash and Steiner against Flair and Crowbar in the final for the tag belts crossing over the top of the hour, with the quarter which also saw 2 commercial breaks leading to the biggest gap of the night, with Nitro dropping to a show low 2.4 rating while Raw jumped to a first hour high 6.7, having Holly vs Chyna for the IC title and the entrances and first minute of the Big Show vs Triple H title match. Nitro crossed over 10 p.m. to a 6-minute overrun in what previously was the start of the third hour, going head-to-head with the Big Show vs Hunter title match on Raw, and despite the strong competition jumped over 600,000 viewers to a 2.9 rating for the Nash and Steiner vs Flair and Crowbar Tournament Finals match in show-closing brawl, ending with David pinning Nash to win the belts after Anderson's interference, followed by the NWO taking out both Funk and Anderson, including driving off with Anderson in the car as a cliffhanger for Thunder, with Nitro as a result of the time change drew its highest rating in over a month with a 3.3 rating. In either a strategic layout or a coincidence, the Big Show vs Triple H match to open Raw's second hour against the WCW overrun ended exactly as Nitro went off the air at 10:06 p.m. going 7 minutes in total, with Hunter winning the WWF title to start a DX celebration and set up the Foley Hunter title match for the Rumble pay-per-view, with the match increasing from a 6.7 to a 6.9 rating, as Raw, despite having 9 minutes unopposed in the quarter, only picked up over 400,000 viewers at the top of the hour in a quarter that also featured Test against Bossman and Albert. With big anticipation in the business to see how much of the WCW audience Raw will pick up in the second hour, including Vince Russo predicting the WWF to approach close to an 8 rating. First indication came during Raw's first full unopposed quarter between 10:15 to 10:30, as Raw's next segment after Nitro went off the air not only didn't gain any significant percentage of the over 3.2 million viewers watching the finish of Nitro on TNT, but dropped to a 6.2 rating, the same number it had half an hour ago going head-to-head. Raw rebounded over 800,000 viewers to a 6.8 rating for a Jeff Hardy vs Al Snow cage match going 7 minutes, while throughout the hour had a series of skits with a DX-produced movie on Mick Foley called Have a Bad Day, featuring Triple H mocking Foley in several scenarios, including him losing his job and saying that his next book is gonna bomb, and the first one was successful only because the WWF machine heavily promoted it to set the stage for Foley's return, with Raw climbing back up to a quarter-high 6.9 rating for the entrances and first half of the Rock vs DX main event, going 9 minutes in total, including crossing into the 6-minute overrun to jump over 900,000 viewers and peak the night with a 7.6 rating, ending up with Foley running in to take out DX and Rock going over to massive reactions to close the show, with the big viewership spike for the Raw main event indicating that the WCW audience will tune in depending on the attraction as opposed to automatically watching whatever is on Raw, with the second hour as a result doing a 6.8 rating and over 8.1 million viewers with a strong increase in viewers per home, Raw's most watched hour since July, peaking at over 9 million viewers for the Rock vs DX main event, with Raw doing over a month-high 6.4 overall.